Turn there if you would. Let's begin our study together. One author called this letter a dance of words with exclamations of delight. Another author called it short and sweet, magnificent though brief, a priceless parchment, a journey into joy. The letter is only 104 verses long. In fact, it's shorter than the average newspaper article that you might read from the News and Disturber. It'll take you less than 15 minutes to read the entire letter. Now, for today, if you look up at the very top, in chapter 1, and I want you to even go up further at the very top of the page, it probably headlines with something like, "The letter of Paul to the Philippians." You see that? That's as far as we're going to get today. The letter of Paul to the Philippians. It's going to take us longer than 15 minutes to get through this. Your translation might read the epistle of Paul to the Philippians. Epistole is the Greek word which simply means letter. It's a letter from Paul. Now, in order to understand the flavor of this letter, to capture the perspective of Paul as he writes with deep affection and great encouragement and some challenge and some correction as well, what we need to do first is be introduced to some of the earliest members of the church at Philippi and how it all got started. In fact, this is one of the few New Testament churches where we are given an opportunity to meet some charter members of this first church plant in Europe. I'm sure this is hitting me, and I've become fairly sentimental this week because today, September 7th, is the same Sunday, same date, 28 years ago, when we held our first services in the band room at East Cary Middle School. Today is our 28th birthday. I want you to look at the person next to you and say, "Happy birthday, and I didn't buy you one thing." Okay, go ahead. It'll be a wonderful experience.
What did they say? Something like
Happy
this?
birthday, I didn't buy
I
you
guess
one
what?
You
thing.
can tell them that you're actually celebrating a birthday. They might bring you some cake.
These are his first services
You're a
at
Red
East.
Lobster, and they'll bring you a chocolate
Cary Middle
cake
School.
with a chocolate
I
center.
thought they had this
Sort
building
of
right.
runs out as you take your fork and do it with ice cream on the side, drizzled in chocolate syrup. I celebrate my birthday there 3 or 4 times a year.
That's right.
Not
I
really,
thought they
but,
had this building back then.
well, as I reread the history of the church plant in Philippi, and I'm going to point out for you 3 people that God collected together around the gospel and the variety that they represented, the uniqueness of these 3 people. I couldn't help but go back in mind to where God collected here on our first few days, weeks, months, a variety of people. A mechanic sitting next to a medical doctor, sitting next to a school teacher. That medical doctor still passing out communiques at the back door. That mechanic, I bumped into him a couple of weeks ago in the lobby, and we talked and joked about how he kept my first pickup truck running. Miraculous thing that he would do, but he talked about how often he had to come with his wrecker and pick me up.
Guess what?
And he always
When they started their first services in
gracious.
East Cary.
Can't help but think of the fact that the church is a living demonstration of a unifying, forgiving, redeeming gospel of Christ who takes different people and puts us together in love.